Am I the a-hole for not sharing life insurance money with dead husband's mom? This is really hard for me to talk about and go down memory lane, but here goes. I, 37 female, received life insurance money after my husband unalived himself. It was a substantial amount of money. Backstory. Before his death, we had a discussion of what we wanted to happen after our deaths. In hindsight, this should have set off a red flag. But if you were in the military, you know this kind of talk wasn't foreign. We have signed power of attorneys to each other before we deployed. We also have to update every year who we want our life insurance policy to go to. I'm still trying to make peace with everything, but I'm struggling more than usual lately. I came home after work one day and found our bedroom door locked with our dogs in there crying. I kept knocking and he wouldn't answer the door. I broke open the door and went in and saw what I can't ever unsee. I still see it in my dreams most nights. He always seemed like the same happy person I met 13 years before, so I didn't see or notice any signs. After, everything was a blur for a while. Thankfully, I've had some solid people there to help me. I lost 20 pounds in about a month from not eating. I wouldn't shower. I don't remember much around that time except everything hurt and I wanted to unalive myself too. I just kind of checked out. I know I'm everywhere with this story. I'm trying to keep my thoughts straight through this, but it's hard. I'm sorry. So, when we talked about what we'd want to happen after we died, he said if he goes first, can I help take care of his family? I said absolutely, because I loved them and they made me feel like family. Especially his mom. She was like the mom I've never had. So you could imagine the pain she added on to me when she went around and told everyone I unalived him. I was getting harassed by his family of what happened. I finally snapped later and yelled, "Do you want to know what happened that day? Well, so do I." But all I was met with was, insert scene here. I know I shouldn't have, but I went into graphic detail to shut them up. I never got any answers myself, and they were making it worse, especially my mother-in-law. Law enforcement didn't make it easy either. I got pulled in for questioning twice, and I cooperated both times, but it didn't help that I had to keep giving so many of them a play-by-play of what I saw. I know they were doing their job though. So, after my mother-in-law ran a smear campaign on me, she asked if I got any life insurance money. I didn't even answer her. All she did was use my husband as an ATM when he was alive, and I started to notice probably about a month before he passed. My husband hid from me that he was giving her money all the time. We had a joint account we put money for all our bills and household expenses in, but whatever was left over of his and my paycheck, we did whatever we wanted with it. My father-in-law and mother-in-law are divorced. She cheated on him and got remarried 2 months after their divorce was final. I did give my father-in-law money because he was the only one that still stood by my side and tried to help protect me as much as he could from her and her side of the family. He wasn't even aware that I got any money until after I gave him a substantial amount. He tried giving it back, but I refused. I get it. She's a grieving mother trying to find answers and needs to blame someone, but she caused me so much pain that I don't want to help her at all. Honestly, I don't know how I'd react if I were in her shoes, but I'd like to think I wouldn't act like she did. She was also not the one in my shoes that has to push through and set up the funeral arrangements, pay off his debts, and live in the same house with all those memories and surrounded by all his things. I didn't throw away his toothbrush or sleep in our bedroom for almost a year. I blocked her a long time ago, but should I reach out to her to give her a cut of the money and then cut all ties again, or should I just keep her blocked? I'm afraid to open that wound again, but I want to know if I'm doing the right thing. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You don't owe her anything at this point. She turned it ugly. She faffoed. Blaming you for your husband's death is beyond the pale, especially when you are the one who found him. Sometimes we never know what demons another person is facing, as they hide it so well from everyone. If you can, get therapy to help you with the PTSD of this whole ordeal. She deserves nothing from you. Please take care of yourself and your dogs, as they are probably traumatized as well. I wish you well in your journey. The mom is mad her ATM is gone. Bingo. She's probably so pissed she didn't get any cash from him, or things like alimony from the father-in-law, so she's trying to manipulate more cash any way she could. Not the a-hole. Keep her blocked. What do you have to gain by unblocking her and giving her money? If your husband wanted her to have it, he could have her in his will, but he didn't. Take that insurance money and get yourself some professional help. OP should also move out too, for her mental well-being. I've been thinking about it. I want to move home closer to my family, but for some reason it's hard for me to let go. Sometimes it feels like it's all I have left with him. Your husband will always be with you. He wouldn't want you unhappy as well. Edit. Thank you guys for responding. It definitely helped me. I'm in tears. I didn't know so many people I've never met could care. I was starting to think I was being selfish. I did pay off the house and our vehicles. I gave some money to his dad, and what's left has been sitting in my bank account that I haven't touched. Some of you said that I could possibly donate, and I think that's a great idea. I also still talk to my father-in-law. He still has not asked for anything else, just for me to visit every once in a while. Also, any service member reading this thinking, well, at least my family will get something when I'm gone, is not the right answer. I would gladly give that money back if I could save him, and I'm sure your loved ones will too. Please do not do this to your loved ones. This includes the brothers and sisters you made in the military. Don't hurt them, please. Oh, I forgot to add this. The cherry on top with mother-in-law. She tried to take my dogs, but the guy I worked with that was watching them told her to get bent. They are happy and healthy, and I spend a lot of my time outside with them. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my sister-in-law's house after she invited me over to not be alone, but just wanted free childcare? I, 25 female, had to put my cat down unexpectedly, and it has completely shattered me. He wasn't just a pet, he was my best friend, my emotional support, my companion through everything. I've had him since I was a teenager, and I loved him more than I can explain. Making the decision to let him go was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I held him in my arms at the vet while he passed, and I genuinely don't know how I made it home after. I cried all night. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I took the next day off work because I couldn't even function. I was in absolute pieces. That day, my sister-in-law called and said she didn't want me to be alone and invited me to come over. I was hesitant, but also grateful that someone seemed to care. I thought I'd be able to just sit quietly, cry a little, maybe talk about him if I needed to, basically just exist around someone so I wasn't drowning by myself. But the moment I got there, it was clear that not being alone actually meant helping her with her kids. We immediately left to pick them up from school. Her son didn't want to get off the jungle gym, and when I just stood there, sister-in-law got annoyed that I wasn't physically removing him, even though I could barely stand upright without crying. Back at her place, she told her son I would help him with homework while she made dinner. I tried to gently bring up my cat once or twice. I honestly just needed to talk about him, and each time she cut me off with, "You're just having a moment," or said we didn't need to dwell, I felt completely dismissed. Then her son needed help in the bathroom, and she asked me to do it. I don't know if she realized, but I'd been crying on and off the entire time I was there. I hadn't been able to think straight since yesterday. I wasn't even sure why I agreed to come, and now I was being asked to play babysitter while grieving the most traumatic loss I've ever experienced. At that point, I just stood up and left. I didn't say much. I didn't trust myself not to sob or scream. I just got in my car and went home. Later, she texted me saying I upset her kids by storming out, and that she was trying to help me take my mind off things. But I don't think she ever actually saw how much pain I was in. Your sister-in-law seems like she spent some time perfecting her manipulation craft, like she was really smooth about the whole thing. I liked the part where she pretended that her kids were upset by you leaving. What kind of monster upsets an innocent child? How could you do that? I'm being very sarcastic here. Sorry, she sounds awful, and I'm sorry about your cat. My dog is 17, and I've been telling myself that love means doing what we have to when the time comes. Even thinking about it hurts. I can't imagine having to process all that you are when it was so sudden and unexpected. I'm so sorry for the loss of your furry soulmate. Not the a-hole. She is a real a-hole and an entitled one at that. Losing my service dog a year ago was incredibly traumatic for many reasons. I had a caregiver at the time who knew how much Odin meant to me. And when I called to tell her that it happened, she immediately said that she was coming over to be with me during this time and that she would even spend the night. Truthfully, I didn't even really want the company. I told her that, but she insisted. Cut to some drama that happened later in the week, and she tells me that she is claiming the hours she spent with me as hours that she worked to get out of coming in a day that I actually needed her. That was a huge slap in the face to me because, like you, I genuinely thought she was doing this out of the kindness of her heart and whatever. But it wasn't that. Take care of yourself. I would have told her that is fraud because she wasn't working and you had told her not to come over. Next story. Am I the a-hole for planning on getting a sibling tattoo with just my full sister and telling dad it's none of his business? I, 19 male, grew up in a blended family. Me and my sister, 17 female, have the same mom and dad. After our parents' divorce, dad remarried and blended us with his wife and her kids. 16, 15, and 13 are their current ages. Then my dad and his wife had kids together, and I have 2 half-siblings, 11 and 9. My sisters and my mom died when we were 11 and 9, and we went from every other week at each house to living full-time with the blended family. This got brought up when Dad found out me and my sister have a sibling tattoo designed that we both want to get once she's 18. He found the draw-up of the design in my sister's room and he was annoyed because it's just me and my sister. He called me up and told me he knew about the tattoo, and he didn't like that we were planning to get something like that. The reason he gave is we have more than one sibling, and doing this is like saying it's us against them, and drawing lines where there doesn't need to be any, and should be none. He said there is no difference in our family, and a sibling is a sibling. Then he lectured me on not feeling the same way. He knew this. We talked about it once when I was 14, and he lectured me on not being the same way with my steps and halves as I was with my sister. I told Dad it was none of his business if we get the tattoo or not, and that we're waiting until my sister's old enough and he can't stop us getting it. Dad said he'd be incredibly disappointed in the 2 of us if we go ahead with it and create a divide in the family we made. He told me this whole thing's wrong and going ahead is mean-spirited and only meant to hurt 5 people who love us and look up to us. Then he told me he's still our dad, and saying it's none of his business is untrue, for the reason of he's still our dad and because he wants us to make better choices. My sister and I talked about it afterwards, and she had a similar talk with Dad. She wants to go ahead with our plan, and so do I. Dad went looking for the design again and found it. He texted me last night saying he was so disappointed and I should reflect on what I'm doing because it makes me an a-hole to the steps and halves. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I can't believe you're acting this way and how we want to honor our mom. It's very disappointing that you think you have the right to prevent us from doing something so thoughtful that we've talked about doing for the past 5 years. Losing mom was something I don't know if I will ever fully get over, since it was such an impressionable time in our lives. I can't believe you would draw such a line in the family over this, and claim it has anything to do with the other children who haven't lost their mother. There is a huge difference between sibling and I versus the other children. They all still have their mother. We don't. You trying to stop us is mean-spirited. I'm rather disappointed in you, Dad. Not the a-hole. This is a sweet tribute to each other, and none of dear old Dad's biz once you're 18. I'd be worried now that Dad has seen the tattoo. He's probably gotten photos and will tell the other siblings to get the same when they grow up, so that they can be blended. Enforced, that is. You. The tattoo includes my sister's name and mine, so unless they don't get their own names added, it would never be the exact same. Plus, we can still make small changes when we're closer to getting the tattoo done. That's even crazier. Why would your dad insist on you getting actual names of other people tattooed on you? That's wild. Stick with your original plan. Get your sister Bond tattoo and let other people deal with their own feelings however they need to. Keep it between you and your sister. If your dad makes it a big deal for the entire family, he is the a-hole, not you, not your sister. Last story. Am I the a-hole for planning to break up with my girlfriend while my kids are at their mom's because I just want peace in my own damn house? I, 33 male, have 2 kids, 5 and 9, and have been in a relationship for about 3 years with a 29 female who now lives with us. It started off fine, fun, a little chaotic, but I've always had a soft spot for people who need fixing. Yes, that's on me, I know. Long story short, she moved in a year and a half ago. Since then, my home, the place I built as a safe, stable space for my kids, has become an emotional minefield. My girlfriend has regular episodes where small things, like my kid not saying hi fast enough, trigger huge guilt trips, shutdowns, or silent treatments. Every week feels like I'm defusing a bomb. When she's not spiraling, she's complaining about work, her weight, her family, my kid's mom, the weather, my face. I don't even know anymore. And when I try to set boundaries or just ask for space, I'm hit with, "I'm not respected here. You never consider my feelings." Or the classic, "After everything I do for this family?" Here's the kicker. She's not the kid's mom. Their actual mom, my ex, lives about an hour away and we co-parent. I do 95% of the parenting, financially support the house, and keep the emotional landscape steady so the kids have some sense of normalcy. Meanwhile, my girlfriend contributes about 20% of the rent, zero emotional regulation, and a constant cloud of resentment if things aren't about her. I'm emotionally tapped out. I've already envisioned paying her to leave, literally offering her a few $1,000s just to move out peacefully when the kids are with their mom. I don't hate her. I just want to go to bed without bracing for impact. I want my kids to live in a house that doesn't silently revolve around managing someone else's mood. Am I overreacting for planning a quiet, structured breakup during summer break so I can finally feel like myself again? A breakup during summer break sounds like the perfect plan. It's like spring cleaning but for your emotional well-being. Who knew that out with the old could also mean out with a chaotic girlfriend? For real, it's not even cold to do it during summer break. It's strategic. The house will be quiet, no kid stress. He can finally exhale without dodging a guilt trip every 6 minutes. Happiness in order. Kids then yours. If she's making your life harder than it is, then no. Also, very respectful and mature for you to do this while the kids are away. If it goes well, have a nice meal with your kids and let them know. I too used to be attracted to crazy, but I decided in my 50s I needed to do better. Ended an abusive marriage and finished raising my kid on my own. Kid is now grown and a productive adult. I took some years living on my own in order to break that cycle and met a wonderful gal several years ago. Sometimes I feel like pinching myself. She's so normal and sweet, and I finally have a real relationship in my 60s that I only dreamed of before. Mutual respect and being prioritized are wonderful to feel and have. I'll joke a wee bit about my girlfriend being the family leader, but it's true. I'm very good with people and have the gift of gab and decent oratory skills, but she could charm a snake. She gets things done, and the other wisecrack I make is that I want to be like her when I grow up.